I joined the streets because of the way things are. From I do go to the club then to pick money to support myself until I discovered that, oh, there is more to just picking money. Then I joined the girls to, for the hookup after clubbing. You go home with the guys and, satisfy them and all that.
In a world where lots of people just have assumptions, in a world where life takes us in different direction, takes us here, takes us there, and the journey comes with lots of experiences, it's very vital that we're able to equip ourselves with, the reason why people embark on certain journey. Hello guys, welcome to Serenity TV. My name is Faith Martins. Today's conversation on Serenity TV is going to be what I would tag a very, very deep one. It is deep for lots of reasons and importantly so, and I will be explaining pretty soon. We're being joined in the house today, in the studio today, by a very amazing person, someone who have come to speak to us, tell her story, explain her journey. That way we're able to understand, the direction that she took and the direction that lots of people take as well. So it's important that you sit back, relax, no judgment whatsoever is intended, and make sure you understand that for every single person that you have come across, that person has a story, that person has a journey, and that person has a reason why. We're exploring that today with our guest in the studio. Hi, Candy. How are you?
I'm fine.
Amazing. Okay, it's such an honor to have you, Candy. So, like earlier told you, I'm here for us to have a deep conversations that are quite reflective on lifestyle choices and reasons, right?
Yeah.
So, quickly, just tell us about yourself, who you are, and maybe not deeply into all of that, but give us detail as to how you came about the street life, as they would call it.
Okay. Like she said, my name is Candy, and I'm here to talk about my story about street life. Well, everybody have their own reasons for joining the street, but I'm going to say my story. I didn't just decide to be in the street, but it was because of some reasons. Okay, I joined the street because of the way things are. From I do go to the club then to pick money to support myself until I discovered that, oh, there is more to just picking money. Then I joined the girls to, for the hookup after clubbing. You go home with the guys and, satisfy them and all that. But the reason was because normally I get some kind of advances from men at my workplace before before I get to work. Most of them will want to, sleep with me before they give me the work. I'm speaking from life experience. When you go to work in a bar, they'll be like, oh, they see that you are good. I want you to monitor my co-staffs. But before that, to give you that job, you have to sleep with me first, And I was not comfortable with it. When you decide not to, they see you as someone else, or the next thing you are being
They're not
sacked.
going to give you the job again.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and why they are doing this is not because of they really want you to monitor. You understand? They just want to have it for free. And it's not everybody that's willing to give you for free. I am not ready to give you for free. So I've had this experience a lot of times. When I go for jobs, someone tells you someone wants to meet you, and the next thing they'll tell you, you will have to sleep with them. So I decided, okay, it's better I go into the street. I know that, yes, I'm doing this for money than, just doing
Doing
it
it
for
for free.
free. Because when you do it for free, they see you as nothing. They don't value that. But by the time, before you tell someone that, oh, I had sex with her, I did something with her, you understand that you paid a certain amount of money left your account just because you wanted to come. You get?
Yeah.
So I started, doing I started living my street life, and it's better. I see it's better. It's a lot better than, when you go for jobs and you're being sexualized, and when you refuse, they say a lot of things about you. I've worked in a place before and I was asked to sleep with the owner of the place. They come with, I like your height, I like the way you're looking and all that. And because of I refused, he had a lot of things to say. He even accused me from stealing from him, which I didn't. So I had to stop the work without being paid.
That must have hurt.
Yeah. So I had to stop the work without being paid. You get a job, there's problem. You're in the streets, there's problem. So I just chose the streets because at least everybody knows, this is what I do. I'm not hiding it. This is what I do for the money, and I'm not losing. I'm not at the losing end. Okay. So yeah.
So you mentioned everywhere there seems to be problem everywhere, but then again, I want more to talk about the problems that come with even living in the streets. If you explore some of those problems with us and some of the experiences where you don't get.
Yes, I can. Okay. Sometimes you bargain with a customer, they agree. Then when you have rendered your services to them, they are likely not to give you the money. For example, you discuss that for a half day, they will pay you 40,000.
Okay.
They agree. And at the long run, after everything, they'll be like, oh, that they can't give you that 40,000. By then, you already satisfied the person. And you will not have a choice. Instead of you to start shouting and everything, you just have to, go walk away. Some people will, at the long run, they will steal from you.
From you?
Yes, they steal.
You've had that experience before?
Yes. They will steal from you. By the time you already woken, the other time I got someone to, that was online, and I went to see him. We already talked everything online. So when I came, I reminded him, say, no, he doesn't have a problem that, he knows what he's going to give me. I told him the price. So after everything, it was time for me to leave. So he grabbed my things. He already grabbed my things and was threatening me. Then he was with an axe, saying that if I push further, he's going to use the axe on me, that I should go quietly and all that. And in our society, if I had come and said this was happened to me and all that, no one will listen to you. No one will care because, you're a prostitute. So there's nothing for you. And
your rights are being abused without anybody even telling you anything.
Exactly. So you just have to go. You just have to go. Some people will just call you, and at the long run, there are 3 men wanting to sleep with you. And the next thing, if you say, I can't do this, you'll be allowed to sleep outside. I've slept outside a gate till the morning before because I refused to have sex with 3 men at a time. They call the amount of money. I say, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
But they're going to pay you higher?
Not even that they're going to pay higher. Some of them will tell you 70. Some of them will tell you 50. I was like, no, I can't. I don't do more than one person, and you already know what is involved. You are likely to do those things and they will not still give you anything. They won't still give you anything. They will just, you can go. They know you don't have a voice. They know you won't talk. They know that, okay, as a girl, you're a prostitute. No one will listen to you. You'll be blamed for it. Yeah. So most times I am guarded. When you've had most of these experiences, you have to be very, very careful.
Hmm.
So the other time was when I went to have my normal street job. I went to visit the guy. So after, having in the morning, when it was time to pay me, he accused me of stealing his phone. All these things are excuses for them not to pay you.
Yeah.
Get? He accused me of stealing his phone, that he dropped it here, he dropped the phone here. How come is the phone missing? I said, I did not take your phone, and you don't have evidence.
Yeah.
And the longer you say, you better leave here before I call the police, then your money is gone. You just gave free services. But most times these are rare. They are rare because now you have to be very careful with the people you work with. Get?
So how do you know? How do you sort of screen the clients, the people you meet, to be sure that, okay, this person is not going to do me while? Is it something that you get to sit down, ask questions? How do you screen them?
Now, I get paid. You pay me before my services.
Okay.
That's the first step. You pay me before my services. And there are things that I noticed, when immediately they are done, I don't even wait anymore till in the morning. If they insist that, they won't pay me before the services, immediately we are done, you make the transfer, you pay me.
Okay.
You pay me. So these are the ways I avoid them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But aside from even, normal clients who end up not paying, right now we're having lots of kidnappers, people who are body harvesters, and it's quite a dangerous world out there, right? So is that how you sort of assess these people? We've had really, really sad stories about sex workers who go and we don't get to hear about them again. So how do you get to even assess the clients generally? Not even the ones that don't end up paying, but the ones that might even be up to no good,
Okay, as someone in the streets, this is a big risk. But you don't go into the streets without being spiritually protected.
Okay.
Most times when you meet those evil people, maybe those that have intention of kidnapping you or something, because of what you have for your protection, it scares them away. Because I've had after I went to do my protection, I got my protection bead and everything. I was using it. So one man approached me with bad intentions, He was like, "Oh, how are you? You look good," and and all that. He shook me. Immediately he shook my hand. I felt it. I felt that this person doesn't have a good intention because of what I was wearing. Because that was part of the signs I was told.
Okay.
He doesn't have good intentions. He's either wanting to use you or take advantage of you. So you avoid those kind of people.
Yeah.
You avoid those kind of people and you let your colleagues know that, this person is not a good person. When they come to the club, most times it's at the club. When they come to the club, you'll be like, this person wants to take you home and all that. We share our experiences to save others.
Yeah.
Okay. We share our experiences. This is the experience I've had with this person.
So this other person will learn and be more
from
careful.
It. Yes, and be very careful about it. We tell you this is how this person works. This is how this thing goes. So that's one of the ways we escape them, because you have to be. Then if maybe you don't have the idea about this person, or maybe you don't have any spiritual protection. First thing is, you should know the hotel he is lodged. No one is taking you to their house. Firstly, your hotel should be closed. I would know every detail about you. I must be comfortable. I will know every detail about you, because what they do is they take you far away where people will not know where you are. But if it's in a hotel around the corner, definitely you are aware that, okay, some guests are coming from the hotel and all that. Then you will be aware That's one of the reasons. It doesn't, most times they do their thing in the hotels, but it's rare now. It's rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but before you go to the hotel, do you get to like maybe inform one or two of the girls around and tell them, oh, are they going here or just in case?
We do that. We
Okay.
also inform the manager. And most times before we leave with them, we let the manager know that we're leaving with so person. We're leaving with so person to go out. You know, we just don't disappear like that. We let the girls know. Most times we share location.
Okay.
You know, we are in a group.
That's
in
a
group
safety
chat.
measure. I like that.
We're in
Let's
a
talk
group
about
chat.
let's talk about your manager, right? I know there is a chain of leadership.
Okay.
There is maybe a madam or maybe an oga at the top who you usually remit money to. Is that a system that is still being upheld?
No, in aspect of my own, what we do, I don't belong under anybody. Okay, it's just your money. The only thing they do for us is they provide a safe space based on this person. Don't go with this person. We don't know this person. You don't pay anybody. You know, it's only those sex traffickers. Those are under madams that do those ones. But for our own, we go to the club
and hustle.
Yes, and hustle
personally.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to remit to anybody.
No, we don't remit to
So
anybody.
by the manager that you talked about is the club manager.
Yes.
Okay. So let's even talk about, you shared some experiences with me that I would call threatening, but have you had an experience that shook you to the core that made you feel like, this hustle thing, I got to stop am? Was there an experience that really shook your fiber? Like really made you scared about even going back to the job? Have you had that experience before?
None I can remember. None. Just apart from the time I was threatened by
with
the man with the
cutlass,
axe. Yes.
With an axe.
Yes.
But it didn't make you like say, this work, if like I go stop am at any point.
At the time I stopped because of fear. You know, I was threatened to the core. I was dragging and he was like, he was going to use the axe on me. That made me, I stopped for some time.
Yeah.
You know, I stopped for some time, but at long run, you know, something that you do and it pays your bills and all that, you say, okay, let me just, go back to it. And this time you have to be physically and spiritually protected.
Let's talk about that spiritual protection you talked about. I know most people are not quite aware of it. I'm hearing it for the first time, actually, even though I might know that it exists. So, but when you talk about spiritual protection, what do they talk about? Like, what's in the spiritual protection mean now by, going to church, having somebody pray for you, or is it by going through traditional means just to get yourself fortified? Because I know you mentioned beads.
Okay, yes, it's by traditional means. You get yourself fortified, you do your cleansing, then you do other things like what's it called again? It's something they call it, I don't remember. Then you be given a bead. That bead is for protection. Anybody that has bad intentions for you, you will definitely feel it. You will feel it, and you should know that, this is a bad sign. That you're about getting into trouble.
There are lots of people who just have negative things to say. Lots of people who just throw jabs. Have you ever heard anything from anybody that has sort of shook you of some sort? And I'm asking that because people talk. People will always talk. People will always have something to say. And for some people, they've developed a thick skin that, bro, this is my hustle. This is my line of work. And there is nothing you would say that would actually get at me. So, but have you heard anything that anybody has said that literally got to you verbally?
Nothing at all. Because even the pastors, reverend fathers, they patronize us and they pay well. So these are the people that, at the place of worship, they judge, they use Bible quotations, and the more they talk, I don't think, I've had a lot of people, say a lot of things. She's this, she's that, and at the long run, you patronize us. Even there's a man that was, when I was coming back from work, a man, because of the way I was dressed, stopped the car to, embarrass me.
Mm.
And I was like, it doesn't make sense, because I see most of you guys come, you patronize us and you pay us well. We say 50, you pay us 70. We say 40, you pay us 50. Tell us, oh, take care of yourself. And they come back. As a matter of fact, most of them patronize us well. They even tell us, oh, it's okay to do what you are doing so long as you're feeding yourself. I just see that those people that judge are the people that patronize us mostly.
So they're the hypocrites.
Yeah, they are the hypocrites. Even married women. Some people come to the club for a threesome with their husbands. When they come, they tell you that they need someone, they need you to, satisfy their husband. Can you do threesome for how much and all that? Some, they prefer the prostitutes, to give them what they want. They see us as, okay, we do our jobs better, and they are okay with it. A lot of times, couples come to the club, they vibe with you, and they see that, oh, your vibes are okay. Even pastors and their wife they have come. They want you, their sex life is low,
boring.
It's boring. They want to spice it up. Can you teach them, and they will pay you. So I've not really, observed, even if I have that, I don't think it will really hurt me that much, because it was my decision. It was my decision. No one pushed me into it. No one pushed me into doing it. I chose,
to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about rights, right? Every individual have got rights.
Yeah.
And more than anything, even if your line of work would require that payments be made before you service with your body, you also have rights as well.
Yes.
Have you ever felt at some point that your rights as a human, even as a sex worker, have you ever felt like your rights were abused? Let me explain what that means. There are times whereby you probably do not want to have to sleep with, I don't know if this has happened with you, but with maybe a dog, for instance. I'm giving like a general objective. And then somebody's telling you, this is what I'm paying you. You have to do what I want you to do. Or times where you probably do not want to have maybe a certain type of sex style, but somebody is telling you, this is what I'm paying you for. You have to do it because I'm paying you, and stuff like that. So have you ever felt like there were times where your rights were not respected? Or maybe you don't want to even use, protection, or you want to use protection, and someone tells you, no, I don't want you to use your protection. And then maybe you should answer that first before I even talk about protection and people who do not want to use protection.
Okay. Yes. Once, there was a style that he wanted us to try, and I told him I don't do it. So he was not gonna pay me. That was before I began to take payments before my services. He was not gonna pay me if I don't do that style. I told him our agreement was, you're going to pay me my money, and I don't do that. And before I do anything, I ask questions. What are your fantasies? What do you do? What don't you do? You understand? And he will tell me, this is what I do. And he asks me, what can you do? And I tell you, okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can do BJ. I don't do annual. I don't do I don't do threesome, and I don't like my breasts being sucked or touched. I just tell him everything, and he tells me his. So at the long run, if you say you're not gonna pay me because of you told me to do a certain style we discussed earlier, and you say it's fine, you must pay me, because at that time you don't have the right. You are not winning. Because questions will be asked, those most of them will deny it and be like, they
never said that.
Anything. I'll bring out the chat. I'll have to bring out the chat. And most times, most of them, they send voice note on V1s. That's why I have 2 phones. When you are something into this kind of thing, people like to play that they're wise.
Yeah.
You have to be 7 steps ahead of them.
Mm.
Okay. So I will have to, keep the record just in case. You get. So at that stage, you don't have anything to say. You just have to pay me my money. You pay me for my services. Then for protection, I have had a customer one time that said, well, we're not going to use protection. And I refused because what's happening now. Everybody should be protected.
Exactly.
Yeah. So at the long run, he was like, oh, he doesn't have. I said, I go with my own every time. I have my own packs.
Yeah.
I brought out my own. So they're telling me, oh, this brand is not this. I said, okay, go get the brand you want to use.
Yeah.
He was just avoiding it, So I noticed it was late and I declined. I said, I am not going to have sex with you without protection. So he wasn't like, okay, no problem. If I'm not going to have sex, he thought I don't have a means to go because at that time it was 2 p.m. So he thought that, I don't have a choice. I left, though after so much struggle, he didn't want me to leave and, we had to start dragging.
Like literally physically?
Yes, we were dragging. He didn't allow me to leave. So I brought out my shoe. My shoe was my defense and I used it on him. I dragged the door open and I left the receptionist. He came there. I was like, oh, they had to, come in and called in their manager. I told the manager everything and they asked the man to leave or else he'll be arrested.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I felt protected. They really came out for me, asking me, telling me that I must use protection against my own. He won't want me to use us to use protection against my own will. It's not right. So that was how that one went. Most times, some of them will be using protection. At the long run, they will have to remove the condom. And I'm very, very observant.
Yeah.
I know the difference between using protection and when you are going without protection. You understand?
So what do you do? What do you do then?
I stopped. Then that's when it happened. I stopped. I stopped immediately and told him I was leaving. I didn't even take my bet. I stopped and I left. Something like this, you should have a ride, whether it's car or a Okada, bicycle, tricycle rider, whatever you have, you should have
on standby.
You should have a contact 2 or 3. So I called someone and he drove me to my apartment. So all these things is for protection. I didn't even stop there. I had to go for checkups because most of them have. I had a customer one time and his skin was not giving. Like he claimed to be, I'm a rich man. They know me well. I'm this, I'm that. But your skin is not giving what you say you are. It was as if he has a disease and it's looking like HIV. The rashes everywhere. His skin was not good. And I refused. He was bragging. Oh, I cannot deny him, because he paid me before then. I cannot deny it. I said, no problem. I will refund you. That's not a problem. That he doesn't need the money. He already sent it to me. He was bragging as a big man he is. I said, sir, I cannot do anything with you. Even with protection, sir, I dey fear. Because, there's how you'll be having something with somebody.
Yeah.
You are not even sure. You won't be comfortable. You get? So I was like, I can't continue. He said, if I do this, I will not like what he will do. I will not be happy. My friends, because he came with his friends. So he called one of his friends to come and talk to me. That if I don't do what he wants me to do, first of all, he was showing me the wife, picture's wife. I have a beautiful wife. I have this, I have that. You cannot. I said, sir, please. I changed my mind, so he called his friend. His friend talked to me while they were discussing. I just carried my bag and disappeared. Called my ride and he came, he picked me. I went to my apartment. I cannot be risking my life when I'm looking for money to sort other bills. So it's just better I just let it go because I know definitely I would feed. So that's just it.
Your personal life, right, and your work life are 2 different things, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So At what particular point do you put a boundary to what your nightlife looks like and what your personal life is about?
I don't understand your question.
Okay, so this is you.
Okay.
Your personal life is totally different. But when you're going to work, there is also a work life.
Mm.
How do you put a boundary to that? By that, I mean, you get to not tolerate some certain things in your personal life. Things that unfortunately you would have to tolerate while you're working at work. Do you understand? There are some certain touches you're going to get in your personal life that you might definitely caution. And there are some certain touches you're going to get in your work life that you would just allow because it comes with the job. Do you understand?
Yes.
So I'm trying to see how you put a balance. How do you balance it? The personal life and your work life. How do you juggle the both of them, and how do you balance it?
Okay. In my personal life, I set boundaries. Like, I avoid some kind of approach.
Okay.
For example, I go for a party,
Mm.
yes, and when I know that, oh, this place is not somewhere I can, do my thing. When you approach me and be like, I want this, I want to say, no, I'm not interested,
Mm.
because of where I am. Sometimes it's set up. Some people set you up.
Mm.
I was almost set up once.
Tell me about it.
Okay. I went for a wedding, and that wedding is from someone knows me from my place. He'd met me in the club before. So he sent someone to come and approach me for the night. It was almost evening. So when he approached me, I was like, I'm not interested. He wasn't like, no, that before he came here, someone told me about me and that. I said, oh, someone did. Okay, well, now I am not interested. And there are some things I don't relate. Maybe when I go out on a date with someone and because of we're on a date, you are trying to kiss me or you're trying to touch me in some kind of way. I don't relate it. I don't like it. I just tell you, don't do that. But when I'm at work, I understand that yes, I'm at work and I'm getting paid for it. I know that yes, I'm getting paid for it. I can allow you to an extent though. Sometimes you are not in the mood, but you just have to, you just have to do it. When you remember that, okay, I'm getting paid for it, you just have to, do it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's try as much as possible. I mean, this is quite deep, but let's try as much as possible to analyze on something. This is a job, and like you earlier stated, it was a choice that you made, basically because you wouldn't want a situation whereby you get to give your body for free, as lots of men would want. Have there been any regrets so far? Have you had any regrets joining this line of business? Have you had any regrets?
Yes, I have had. Because from where I'm coming from, it's not my thing. You understand? It's not my thing, but I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot from being just a normal person. My experience, I've seen a lot. I don't know why it's like that, but I just chose is better. When I mean I was almost raped when I went for a job interview. He said I was gonna come over for a job interview, and I did. I was almost raped. That rape incident made me say, nah, I will just do this to an extent. I save up, start a business, and know that yes, I am done with the street life because I'm not gonna do it forever. I'm just gonna do it, start a business, because if I eventually meet or see money for my business, I'm stopping it. I'm just using to support myself in school. I'm a student. Support myself in school, support my life, and I don't even go for flashy things or buy wigs and all that. No, I just save. Most of the money, I save them. I save them because of some reasons. Okay, I have a child. She's in school. I'll have to do those bills, do the runs and everything. I also have a goal. I want to start my business and I want to relocate from where I'm staying. I want to change my environment and everything, change my story and all that. So I just don't do it because of, okay, I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with it. Not because of what the society is saying. There's a time you come back from work and you'll be so tired.
Yeah.
Okay. You remember that, oh, you are going again. You know, you'll be tired. And you don't want your child to know that this is what her mom is doing. It's going to be somehow. So I'm trying my best as much as possible to save up. Then I stop it. Then focus on my business and my child. So yeah.
Amazing. Candy, thank you so much for your story. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. It takes so much courage. It takes so much for one to come out and, be open. And we just want to really appreciate you for coming here to the studio with us. Thank you once again.
You're welcome.
Amazing. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Bye.